So we hit the theme song up.
Yeah.
Brown 45! Brown 45! Hot, 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 hot!
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households and now 1 studio, boys. We've upgraded. Woo! We are in a studio. We are live with each other for the first time.
I can touch you.
I know. Hello. Weird, isn't it?
I can touch you. Hello.
I'm not just on the screen like a little. I don't know where to look though. That's going to throw me for the whole thing. So
I'm curious. Is Danny going to be on a delay while we're in here?
I think we're finally going to make it where I'm not delayed for the first time ever.
After a few of these, he might be delayed anyway. But it is a big week for us. We've got our first live show, which is pretty awesome. It's also the Super Bowl week. It's the AGS Bowl week.
Yes.
And it's the Web Bowl week.
Yes.
We've got 2 webs facing off, which is pretty awesome. We had a week where we had the Pro Bowl. What do you think of the Pro Bowl, boys?
It's a good week for what it is. I don't think take it too seriously. Like it's mini games essentially, and then flag football again. It's like a mini game version of football. So I think take it for what it is. I think they're trying to find the balance of still trying to keep it as a prestigious thing to be named a Pro Bowl player. You know what I mean? So they're working that out. First year of the new platform. See it as a fun week. And I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I feel like they're heading in the right direction with it.
Yeah.
Whether they're there or not yet is probably different.
Yeah, definitely tweak it. Like you can maybe get rid of some of the stuff, bring back some old school stuff. Like you used to love seeing like the bench press max, all that sort of stuff.
Make a bit more of a combine.
Let the big linemen go in there and just go to town.
And the quarterback challenge and stuff, that was still good. That was like
skills test for the quarterback is always good fun. I like watching that. Yeah,
so it's probably the most entertaining part of the whole weekend. Like the flag obviously was great as well. But yeah, I still feel like they've got a few more steps to go before it's like the event that everyone wants to watch.
Before we did get a little bit too far into it before I realised I haven't even introduced you boys. We've got our ever reliable
I was waiting.
work experience kid turned pro at Danny Webb AGSAU. How are you, mate? You good?
I'm fantastic.
You look a bit nervous. What's wrong?
I am nervous. There's so many cameras.
The studio lights are getting better.
They are better than my lights.
It's the bright lights.
Yeah.
We've also got the ever reliable, not in his basement down in Torquay, but TC24 at Tim Cardy, AGSAU, mate. How are you?
Very good. Happy to be in the studio, mate.
You're looking fresh.
I'm rocking the brand new Raiders 83 Super Bowl tee, fresh. Obviously, we're not participating, so I had to throw it right back to 83, but happy with the fit. What about you? Who are you?
Mine's 2011.
Okay, so yours a bit more fresh than mine. And Danny, you've just got the
straight up
my Super Bowl.
We didn't want to bring it up.
My Super Bowl t-shirt's arriving tomorrow.
It's
Was it actually Super Bowl shirt?
Yeah, at least we're here for Monday.
For game time at least.
Yeah, but wanted it here for today.
That does remind me. You did mention it just before. We should mention that we do have merch coming. We've got it.
What?
Brand new. Oh, actually, yeah. Cheers. The
cheers.
awkward cheers. I've gone under. There we go. Look at that. That is not for sale. So that's not the merch that we're running with to start with. We've got some brand new shirts. They're currently in transport, I believe. So they'll be here within a week or so from Brisbane. And then we'll put it out there for everyone to get around version 2.
Yeah, we'll make a little portal online. You can hit us up.
Portal.
Yeah, a little shop or something. That you can grab a new
Tim
tea
Cardy,
there.
AGSA.
We'll see.
We're going to shake it up a little bit today. We're not going to start with Dr. Danny's news. That'll be a bit more with our Super Bowl.
Dr. Danny's IR.
Sorry. Just the one IR, but we'll get there. We are going to start with some news, and we don't have the... I'm not controlling the noises, so I can't say "do not talk about my team" from Will Smith. He did
a good thing that soundbite's gone.
Cops way more hate than I think you were expecting.
I was all about it, but we did cop an email from his producer or his team just saying, "Look, take our name out of your mouth." But that's all right. Have you heard about the Aaron Rodgers deciding his future in the darkness retreat, Cardi?
I have a little 4-day, 4-night. It's essentially like he just locked himself away in a house in the darkness, and you don't have any contact with anyone else for 4 days. So he's just lost in his thoughts. So everyone knows about these ayahuasca retreat that he did in Peru or wherever it was. So
And then won 2 MVPs, just saying.
Yeah. So then the theory behind this is the 4 days of staying in the darkness and things like that, it can bring on the effects of like DMT and other hallucinogenic drugs and things like that. So he's we've talked about him many times, but he's a very deep thinking, very thoughtful sort of bloke. So he just wants to get in that clear headspace, remove all the noise. And I think he thinks after that 4 days, he's going to have an answer.
It'll be more clear.
It'll be more clear. Like Eddie, but he's still reiterating the fact he's still contracted to the Packers. Like he's not a free
Everyone's
agent.
talking as if he's a free agent.
It's getting
isn't he?
lost on a lot of people. He's not a free agent. The Twitter. Oh my god,
mate,
Twitter's a toxic place. It's good fun, but goddamn. But just that little graphic, that we shared wasn't our graphic, but geez, the Jets fans came hard. But he is still contracted, not a free agent, so obviously he's going to have to get traded by Green Bay for him to leave.
I heard a second rounder. Green Bay is not taking a second rounder for him.
And also, having Green Bay come out and said, or someone from the Green Bay organization come out and said, like, if Aaron Rodgers wants to come back and doesn't want to retire, they'll have him back.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like all the talk about he's going to go to the Raiders or he's going to go to the Jets, and everyone's like so adamant that he's going to head there.
Yeah.
Well, probably the highest probability is either he retires or he goes back to the Packers.
Yeah.
because he's still holding a bit of cap space too, isn't he?
Oh, huge.
So-
I think it's 40 million regardless.
Yeah.
40 million hit.
Yeah.
So it's a small hit, but
It's still something you got to think about if you're
yeah, it's enormous.
in that
That's
trade
huge.
discussion. Yeah.
But I think it came out from one small discussion. He's on the Pat McAfee every Tuesday.
Yep.
And he said, it sounds like there's conversations happening and I'm not there. They would be happening about every quarterback in every room. Like, this is their 2-3 weeks
Aaron said
away.
this about Green Bay.
Yeah, he said, well, because it come out, they're like, oh, you know, if we want to trade him, we'll trade him, and that's more likely. It's all whispers and shit, really. But
Yeah.
that'll be happening in every quarterback room, in every team, besides the teams that are still playing. Actually, San Fran were playing, and it was still happening there.
But you got to think too, how many of these so-called discussions are just stories that are generated by
100%.
reporters that might be just scratching for something to write about for the week. So,
absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers is
A
trending,
lot
whatever.
of it's clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reporters
exactly.
just getting clickbait. So they just want views on there.
It's some
We
small
would never do
town
that.
podcast.
We would
It's
never
some
do
small
that.
town podcast that's going, you know what? Aaron Rodgers has left. He's signed with the Jets.
Yeah.
50 million deal.
We would never do that.
Yeah, we've never done that on Twitter. Never.
Never sink that low. follow us, AGSAU.
I have seen on numerous New York Jets like fan pages is a picture of Danny and like darts just straight in his head. Like,
Public enemy number
what
one.
have you done, mate?
The Jets fan base, they're passionate. I think it's the best way to describe them. Very, very passionate.
They mobilise in numbers.
Yeah, and if one comes after you, they all do, which is good. It's lovely. Like it's nice to see him so passionate.
It didn't quite make sense to me though. Like they were abusing you because they weren't on the list, and then you suggested they should be on the list, so they abused you about that.
Yeah,
It was a lose-lose. It was a lose-lose situation. It wasn't our graphic. It wasn't our list. It was just a discussion point.
yeah, it was just a discussion point for our fans, and
Yeah.
like none of these people even followed us anyway. They were just throwing up so much hate. I was like, oh, come on, guys, write your own list.
We ran a few over by the end.
I think we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we did. It was
100%.
Yeah,
hearts and minds.
yeah.
So, Danny, how
love
did
you,
you
Jets.
go 4 days? Yeah, we do love the Jets fans.
Yeah, we
they
do.
have had like 50 years of pain, so they're probably due
Hey, maybe
something.
maybe next year's their year. Maybe.
Yeah, not with Rodgers though.
No.
I'm pretty confident that he's staying at the Packers.
Yeah, you don't reckon after his
Well, I
4
said it
day?
last week when you said it. He's 100%.
Yeah, no,
staying.
I'm leaning towards maybe potential retirement after
Nah.
hearing what he had to say about like his 4 day retreat. He's like, there's 100% in his consideration.
He hasn't decided.
He hasn't decided yet,
Yeah.
and he's going to go away for 4 days, sit in the dark, and they're going to lower food down to him through a hole or something like that.
Food
He's so
delivered.
dependent.
That's his
Yeah.
only contact.
His only contact is his food
Outside
delivery,
people is-
but
yeah.
I don't even think there's like conversation about the food coming down. I think the food just appears.
No, the idea is, you're not going to
Yeah.
talk. You're not going to.
Yeah, so
There's no music.
Interact
there's no,
with them.
You're not
No-
taking a book.
No. You're in pitch black. It's
Pitch black.
dark.
And from what I've heard, it's not a house. It's like a concrete building.
just like a bunker or
yeah.
something.
Is it?
Oh,
Yeah, it's very, very.
I read house, but
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
did I.
I don't
But
know.
I heard this morning that it's a concrete building.
Okay.
You know,
so it'll be cold.
Very, Jesus coming from out of the rocks kind of.
Yeah, right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But you'd have to
Cheesehead.
have a good bed. As soon as I heard this, I was out for a jog when I heard that he was going in this. Like, I'd try and sleep as much as I could. Like, what do you do?
I think that's what he's come out and said. He's like, I'm going to sleep a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm
You have
guessing that's
to.
going to help him clear his head.
You're just going to get lost. And so I'm going to preempt what question you were going to ask. I think you asked Danny, but we sort of got off track as we do.
as we
You're
do.
going to ask how would you go?
How'd you do? What would you do?
Literally yesterday I did a 1 hour float. Have you ever seen those floats
good
in
are
the
they?
float
Float
pods?
tank.
Yeah.
So I literally did one yesterday for an hour, and it was
That's
a
why
very.
you look so fresh.
I do. I feel great, but it was a very weird experience.
Have you never done it before?
Never done it before. That was my
cool.
first time, and like I hear a lot of people drift off to sleep, or just you zen out or whatever. I was awake and alert the whole time. I just sort of I'd bump into the side of the pod and be like, oh, okay, move
Did you
across.
go music?
No, I just had like the 5-minute lead in and then the 5-minute outro kind of thing to let you know that it's finishing. But I definitely don't feel like I got into that state of meditation and zen. I was not in the DMT zone. I didn't think so. I would not last 4 days and 4 nights. Is my answer to that.
Danny?
I feel like I'd really enjoy the float tank for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like
Have you?
that'd be incredibly
You've never
peaceful for me.
floated?
I haven't floated.
This sounds like a lot
dabbled-
like Suits. Let's go mudding.
Yeah.
I can recommend.
I've
it's a
dabbled
good
in the
experience.
meditation world, and I've done
Yeah.
things like gong baths and like sound baths. So that's where you like do a meditation to sound. So there's someone in the room, and it's almost like the sound of the gongs that they're playing sends you into a deeper meditation, and that was really, really good. Like you can come out of that feeling super clear. But that's an hour. That's not 4 hours alone. No,
4 days.
yeah, sorry,
96 hours.
yeah. So I wouldn't even last 4 hours. That's why I said 4 hours.
I reckon
But
14 minutes. I'm probably starting that. Get me out.
well, that's the thing. You can get out whenever you want. So if
Yeah,
someone
I
put
heard
me
it's
in
a lot
that-
hard. That's what I heard this morning. A lot harder to get out than it's not just walk out the front door.
Yeah.
You're moving a boulder.
But yeah, I'm a big
don't
no on that. If you're gonna lock me in a dark
that's
room
fair.
Yourself,
for 4
mate?
days.
Well, just so you know, boys, we have a retreat away in our time off. I've done a float. I
Yes.
really enjoyed it, but I had, I remember Triple J just holdest 100 on, so it probably didn't help me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you just
So I was
That
tuning
defeats
away.
the whole purpose.
that's
doesn't
like
it?
you're lying
Yeah,
down just in your bed with your
in a
eyes
rave.
shut.
I was like, lying down in a rave. It was quite good.
Okay.
But no, I ended up, I got him to turn it down a bit. So it was just a dull music.
Yeah, background.
And I reckon I fell asleep, but it was 49 minutes into an hour.
Yeah.
I had 10 minutes where I was gone, and then I was probably more tired after I woke up. But it was really good, and then I went for a steam and stuff. It was quite nice. Quite nice. Yeah, that's probably all we have to... I did think... So Super Bowl week, I found out this week, not much news happens.
well, it's
when I
just
was
like-
searching up to let's put a thing together, I was like, there's really not much that goes on Super Bowl week. It's purely
Well,
about the two.
Other than Super Bowl news, like
Super Bowl news, yeah.
there's
yeah.
obviously like coach signings and things like that,
which we will talk about in a second. But yeah,
Yeah.
besides like during the year, which we should have known this. You know, we did do this for a few months before we started, especially me.
I've seen a few articles kicking around of doing mock drafts and stuff already.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
I did.
just
I looked at,
pump the brakes.
thought about maybe doing like even speaking about the top 10 draft because it's all but two are now locked in. Obviously, these two decide who gets the last two.
Yeah,
But then I thought,
save it. We're gonna need
We're
something
gonna
for the
need some-
offseason.
we're
We're
gonna
gonna
need
need some
some
content.
I'm already getting asked questions like, so Super Bowl's this week. Then what are you doing?
Yeah,
I was like, don't worry, we got things. We
Yeah,
got things in
we
the
got things in
pipeline.
the
We got some
pipeline.
things in the pipeline. It's
I
coming.
actually, we should have mentioned that I had an interview. You boys were sadly busy, but I had an interview with Thomas Yasman from
Tommy,
the Utah Utes, big tight end. So he's doing some big things, and I reckon he's got a big, bright future, that kid.
Yeah, he was a good fella. That was a good interview too, by the way. Well done.
Thank you.
Congrats to you. But yeah, he's a nice fella. How old is he?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so he was at the end of high school, obviously
Hey,
in
see, there's the
Australia.
beautiful
20,
thing.
2018 he
We
went
can Google
over.
now.
2018 he went over. So
Yeah.
So I think he could have opted for this year's draft, but didn't, and he's gone back to the Utes for one more year.
Yeah.
So
Which is
minimum,
smart.
committed for one more year.
yeah, so minimum you'd have to be 21.
Yep. But yeah, he's
As his birthplace, doesn't have his birth year.
don't stress. But no, he was a nice
wanna
fella.
know-
He
I wanna
seemed
know,
really
yeah.
switched on. His academics obviously a big part of
Yeah,
the
maths-
reason he
maths-
chose
maths
Utah
brain.
as well. So
Yeah.
no, he was a good lad.
So we're going to have a few more. I've already locked in 2 more. Just Aussies that are doing great things in college.
Yep.
And then we're obviously chasing some bigger fish as well. So they are in the pipeline.
Throw out a little bit of burley.
Yeah, that's it. I have had contact with a few.
Okay. Keep your
yeah.
powder dry. Keep your powder dry.
Keep the nose
We
wet.
need some clickbait to get them all coming back.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers dies. Yeah.
Whoa. Settle
No,
down.
I'm not the one who wants to say
Settle
that.
down. Settle
We
down.
are going to get into so there's 3 big coaching announcements that I wanted to talk about.
Yep.
I'll throw them to you boys and get some comments. The first one, that Steve Wilkes has been hired by the 49ers to be the defensive coordinator. Carts, me and you have been pretty big on Steve Wilkes the whole year. Why is that?
Yeah, well, so he took over as the interim coach for the
Carolina
Panthers. That's right, for the Panthers when Matty Rule got the arse, and they
the 800 million.
Yeah, that's that sort of same week. That was when they got rid of McCaffrey and who was the other one?
Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson. So you were sort of like, oh, they're clearing house, they're setting up for a rebuild, and then Rule was able to sort of not Rule.
Steve Wilkes.
Wilksey was able to sort of just
Wilksey.
He was able to steady the ship a little bit. He steadied the ship a little bit, and he probably. You can't say he changed the culture in that time, but he probably changed attitudes a little bit. Yeah, he would have definitely had an influence, and they were able to actually come away and win a few games in that second half of the year. So we thought he was probably a big chance to get the head coach.
He was the finalist.
Yeah, he was the finalist. So we thought he was a good chance to get the head coaching role at the Panthers. Didn't happen that way, but he's obviously filling big shoes at the 49ers. D'Amico Ryans gone to the Texans, but. Yeah, looking after that defensive unit, he's obviously putting together a good resume now. He's probably going to be a head coach. You'd have to think within the next 5 years.
You say that though, but
it's a stepping stone position for the
It
49ers.
is. It really
for the
seems to
49ers, DCs tend to go on to be head coaches.
Yeah.
It's happened for the previous 2.
Yeah, but I find that everyone. I wonder if he was like how deep he was, whether he said no or not. Like if he's not ready, or they went and got. Oh, I just said it before. Who are the Panthers?
Frank Reich.
Frank Reich, which he's proven and shown that
former
he can
Colts
do
head
it.
coach, yeah,
former Colts. Didn't make the playoffs, but
had a terrible year. But he's head coach before.
Yeah, that's right. But they said there's the last 2 or 3 years. I find that there's 2 or 3 really big names that are like he's going to be a head coach, and then 12 months later they're gone.
Coming from this defensive coordinator role.
From a coordinator role, yeah. So
you think they just get lost to the ether if they don't hit it that year?
I feel like it's obviously a lot comes into it, but I reckon you got to take your opportunities when they come because what happens next year the 49ers blow up, and then no one's talking about Steve Wilkes.
Yeah,
they've gone to shit.
So you're wondering I
wonder how deep did they say no?
Was it his call or was it theirs?
Yeah, because if it was his to say no to ship over literally the other side of the country. Yeah, I don't know about that, but that's huge for them because he is, like you said, he changed it.
Was he great signing for the 49ers just to continue?
Was he the DC there before?
Just to continue what Ryans had built.
I imagine he was at Carolina.
Yeah. He was elevated from. DC. Well, I'm not sure what position, but
I would have said
he was elevated from within. He was elevated from within the building.
Yeah. Danny, good call, bad call, good hire, bad hire.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
You said it's
because.
Stepping stones.
Yeah, stepping stone obviously is going to be good for him in his own personal career, but I also think it's going to be good for the 49ers, like having the defense that they do have. They want to continue to build on that. It's such a strong point. We spoke about it before the Eagles-49ers game that it's going to be a defense versus defense game. And this whole season's almost been like a defensive-minded season, so it'll be really good for the 49ers to keep on moving forward on that. So I think it's a great signing for the 49ers.
Yeah, I wasn't knocking Steve Wilkes. I actually like him. I think he's going to be. I think he will be a great head coach. It's just I worry that you get lost in the ether.
Just to really put the brakes on this whole conversation, he was the head coach of the Cardinals in 2018.
Yeah, I remember that. Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going that deep.
Okay. Just saying. Okay.
Anyway.
What other signings have you got?
another signing. The Titans. I love this story, and I don't know Tim Kelly besides playing football for the Cats and the Weagles. But he's been promoted from within at the Titans. So he's been promoted from whatever position. I don't actually have the thing open. I should be more all over it. But he's now OC at the Titans. But I just love the fact that you see they're doing 10-hour interviews with all these other people. Nah. He's done a good job in our building. We'll promote him.
Just on long interviews, aren't the Colts doing 18-hour, 16-hour interviews?
Yeah, apparently.
Only 2, not 3.
Yeah,
okay. It's a long amount of time.
Would you rather an 18-hour interview or 4 days in the dark?
Am I going to get the head coaching job at the end? Is it guaranteed?
Either way, you get it.
Either way, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, give me the interview.
Yeah, I'll talk rubbish. I'll talk rubbish for 18 hours. Yeah.
It kind of seems like.
What are you doing for 18 hours?
Well, it seems like the three of us like to talk rubbish anyway. So if you just put us in a room.
We're on to story number 3, and we're about 25 minutes in.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, shit, we're going to be under an hour today. But could be closer to 3.
There's got to be a couple of, food breaks. There's some toilet breaks. So you're not going 18 hours straight.
So
18
I'm
hours. Testing you. I'm swapping, but I'm leaving you in the hot chair for 18 hours.
18 hours though, like, are they going to take you out for 3 meals? I hope so.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a big meal, if not.
yeah.
That's at least a small one. It's a big one.
Well,
Because
it's in your time or their time.
Yeah. But
No, back to the Titans.
Yeah, well,
I think Vrabel's a big one on culture and all that sort of stuff. And I
huge.
think just
Yeah.
continuity from within the building. I think, good signing. Like to see it.
Yeah. Danny?
I'm
You
on board with
glitching
you
over
guys.
there? You
Yeah,
glitching in 3
I'm on
seconds
board with you
behind?
guys.
And the last one, I wanted to bring this one up. Danny, did you see who the Panthers signed as DC? This is not the reason why, but I just want to see. I want to see what you can say.
Oh, so I've been sweating on this since we started. You said I look nervous. This is why. This is the exact reason why. Agerio Avero.
Yeah.
How's he going?
Well, I know as much as you do. So, Mr. Averio, I'm going to
That's
go
good.
with.
So he came from the.
No. We didn't want to touch on it all. We just wanted you to say his name.
I did actually want to.
No. Go into it.
You came from the Broncos last
Yes.
season as the DC.
Yeah. And so
Strong
this-
defensive unit at the
this is
Broncos. That was
why
their
I-
only sort of positive thing from the year. Like, obviously, terrible year with
It was literally their only positive.
Russ and
Like, they've gone out and spent billions on a bloody crap quarterback who's getting older.
well,
Crap quarterback who's getting older.
Yeah.
he's had one bad year.
One bad
But-
year. Let's see how he goes.
Okay.
He's going to be under a new coach. So
Yeah.
let's see.
So all that's, has Peyton come in and gone, I
They
want to bring my own crew in?
No, they came to an agreement between
Yeah,
two of them.
right.
They came to an agreement and they both were like, we're going to go our separate ways. And they're both happy with it.
Okay.
Because I don't know, in my mind, we're going, you know what? That's settled. I don't have to worry about the defensive side. We can get him more weapons if we need to, if he needs it. But that's fine. Like, we don't have to worry about it. But now it sounds like he's
I think
blown it up.
part of it was that Agerio also interviewed for head coaching job. That's right, isn't it? You just got to stop laughing at me. I'm sticking with it. Also interviewed for head coaching jobs for the Cardinals and the Colts. So I don't know if he was like, he already agreed that he was going to leave as he was interviewing for those.
Well, you have
And
to
then-
get permission as a offensive or defensive coordinator to interview.
I think most underneath the head coach.
Yeah, okay, so you have to get permission to interview for those spots. So maybe,
there you go.
maybe it was just a
so maybe after he got his
agreed thing that he was going to leave.
yeah, agreed that he was going to leave and went for 2 head coaching jobs, didn't get those, and then went to the Panthers.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. We're obviously not in the building. You sound like you're in the building more than us. But, I don't know. I reckon if your defense is fine, you'd leave them. But, lucky. It doesn't say who they've signed to the DC, has it?
I haven't heard. No,
The Broncos?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard.
haven't heard.
Nice cup, by the way. Another story that I don't have it written down. It's probably straight to you, Carts. That has just come out literally today. That Derek Carr has been given permission to speak to the Saints.
Okay,
So
hadn't heard that.
no. So this is very interesting
Well,
because
he's got to go somewhere. Like,
Surely the Raiders aren't going to trade him. Like, surely no team's going to want to pick up, because what has he got, 40 million for his next year?
yeah, and
So if they,
there'll be picks involved as well.
yeah, or they just let him, it's like the end of Feb maybe, and they just pay him $5 million and he's a free agent.
I don't think it's even that long. I think it's pretty soon.
I
The
reckon
date.
I would have said
Mid-Feb.
5th. We've passed the 5th.
I think it's gone.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
So
been
he's
gone.
already free
I think it's
agent.
been and gone.
No, he's still
how's
under
it work?
contract. It might be the 15th, might be mid.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it does come to the point where that it's
So
done. He walks
the
away.
Raiders,
but-
yeah, obviously they would have done everything they possibly could to try and trade him. But teams,
So that's where,
teams going to be looking
where
at
do you
him.
come from the other side, being the Saints, going,
Yeah.
all right, do we want him? We have a man, we've got a guy, or do we let him go to free agency? We might get him cheaper, but it also
Opens up the door.
The Colts
Opens
could
the
get
door
him,
for more parties
Houston might get
to
him.
come
Yeah,
in.
so
Yeah.
Forget about the Jets.
The Jets, potentially the Jets.
Well,
definitely need a
they are
quarterback. The
huge.
Jets
Yeah.
need a quarterback.
We can't forget about the Jets. We've learned that.
we have.
Yeah, I guess that's just the game, and the dance you got to the dance you got to dance, trying to work out the best way to do it for the least amount of money for the organisation. Like, because the Raiders are playing the game too, like, not trading him, pay the $5 million, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, I hadn't heard anything
because he can
about any
also
movement yet.
The 40 million I think can come down. He can go to the new club. I'm not sure if it's when he's a free agent or not, but he can change his contract so it's not as big a cap hit and things like that.
Yeah.
So where you wouldn't do that to help, the Raiders.
No,
I'm not changing my contract to help you.
No,
You're
exactly
getting rid of
right.
me, like.
Why would you?
Yeah. And he's come out and played pretty well in the Pro Bowl games.
He
too.
did. Yeah, he had a good Pro Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
It's the best weekend.
Changed a lot of
best weekend in
changed
Vegas.
a lot of attitudes
Didn't he?
too.
Didn't he?
Changed
Just
a lot of
with the
attitudes just with one line.
Cheeky little
Which
comments.
literally
and-
one cheeky little line. So
Yeah.
good on him.
That's pretty much the news that we do have, unless you boys have across anything that I haven't been.
No, that's it for me.
Nah, your notepads are clear.
Yeah, clear.
Before we get into the Super Bowl and Dr. Danny's IR, I do have our regular questions without notice. We don't have our fancy little tune. Can you sing it?
It's time for.
Might be on my phone, but no, that was pretty close.
That was pretty close.
I do have a couple for you. One's regarding this game coming up. So just to get a bit of conversation started, first Super Bowl with brothers playing off, Kelsey boys.
The Danny and Brenton Webb. Oh, sorry, the Kelsey boys. Sorry.
Which Webb would you rather lose? No, which Kelsey would be a bigger loss, do you think? Losing a center?
From their team.
From their team. So I was going to say who's going to be a bigger impact, but I think the bigger impact would be who, if you lost or, they nullified one, who would be a bigger loss?
So you take away Jason Kelsey, you take him away from that offensive line, who you're putting in to replace him, is he going to do enough to be able to protect Hurts so Hurts can do everything that he needs to do to actually run the offense?
Yep.
You take that away, it is detrimental. But you take Kelsey away from...
Which one?
Travis, yeah.
Travis. You take Travis away from the Chiefs. Mahomes that's his number one target.
This leads into a lot of chat that obviously we'll have about the game that you're putting.
So
what are you putting the cart before the horse?
Yeah,
here?
before the cart.
I think Travis has had 21 catches and 3 touchdowns just in the postseason so far.
Yeah.
Which is Mahomes is looking for him every single time.
Is
And
his number
They've got
one
a safety
target?
blanket
yeah, they've got that.
that can get more yards.
Yeah, they've got such a perfect connection between each other. Yeah. So that is a hard
It's
question.
literally the flip of a coin because they're both their role that they play. They're both so important for their teams. Their respective roles that they play. They're so crucial. So it's not a cop out, but they would literally impact being lost as much, to either team. So it's a tough one to answer.
It is a tough one, especially
because they're so important in their roles that they play.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
I think Jason Kelsey would be a bigger loss. I know that you're saying that Travis, he's the safety blanket and he's the one he goes to, especially on third down. He's looking at Travis Kelsey 9 times out of 10. But to lose a good centre who's a blocking centre and all those QB sneaks that they do, he's enormous.
He's
in that.
pivotal.
He
Yeah.
Cops helmets in the back.
Yeah,
He's a human wrecking ball.
He is. And if you,
He's a big fella.
He moves flesh out of the way.
and you said as we started that Miles Sanders has had a massive year, hence why your helmet's going up and up in price. That's because their offensive line has been nearly impeccable. Mailata has been enormous. From where he started 3 or 4 years ago. I think he was 2018 as well, which.
Yeah, did you boys come across the video of it was a video from a year ago, but where he explained his story?
Yeah, I didn't quite. We were posting at the same time.
Yeah, okay. His story was incredible, because he was signed for the juniors for the Rabbitohs, but no one was going to give him a contract in rugby league. And then he heard from I think the bloke was actually from London, but it was the international NFL players program. So he went over. Never touched an NFL ball ever in his life and went over to do their version of a draft combine, but because he wasn't coming from college, it was an international players one.
Different pathway.
Yeah, and
We got Bertar from the Gold Coast. He's in that this year.
Yeah. So then the Philly organization were there and saw him. If he was in college, he'd be a round 1 or 2 draft pick. So they were they had his eyes on him from the start, and he ended up going late in the 7th round. But they're how perfect's this? This is someone who has no bad habits and someone that we can teach to do exactly the way
Yeah,
we
he's
want them
he's
to play.
moldable,
He's
yeah.
moldable.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they did. And he didn't get his first like proper run until someone was injured. And then after that, he's just been,
hasn't
Maybe
given
signed,
looked
it was
back.
an $80 million deal or something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years, 68 million or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it's massive. It's a
good's
massive
that?
deal.
and he got $5,000 from the Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
Please. You could probably buy the Rabbitohs.
Rusty might have something to say about
He
that.
won't be selling it, but geez, that'd be awesome.
But yeah, it's just an incredible Aussie boy story.
Yeah.
And he's done so well, and he's so humble. If anyone's seen any of his recent interviews, if you haven't,
He's done a lot for
Good in
NFL
front of the
Australia.
camera too. Yeah,
Really
really
good.
good in front of the
Really
camera.
good in front of the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah,
Just
that's, I do feel
charisma
bad
maker.
because he's because he's such a centerpiece for the NFL Australia, but he's getting a lot of the media from NFL Australia. But we've got Matt Leo and we've got Aaron Sipos also in the same team. But no, he has been huge, and he'll go a lot towards deciding the game. So yeah, if we lose Mailata, it's bigger than losing Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. The second question, it's actually referring to my boys and Aaron in the
I
dark.
thought we were on the Super Bowl chat.
No, we
Of
haven't
course.
quite got
Fire
there.
away.
But what would you do if you were Jordan Love? So it's coming into his 5th year. It'll be a $20 million contract that he'll get for 1 year, the extension. Are you going to sit behind Rodgers again for one more year, or are you going to say, let me go, I want to go spread my wings?
But like in his mind, he's like, if Rodgers does come back, he's already contemplating retirement now. So in a year's time,
That's 100%. Are you saying, do I do one more year and then
it's
he could
yours?
have the Packers for the next 15 years?
Exactly. And like, because he's been there for, what did you say, 5 years?
It'll be his 5th next year.
Yeah, it'll be his 5th year. So he's already built up the continuity with the team. And that's what, like, you need that
And then
continuity as a quarterback.
we got people like Watson and stuff coming through. So
Yeah. I would, if I was him, I'd be saying,
Yep.
you have the chance that Rodgers is going to leave this year or next year. And then you can potentially have the team and, like, it then becomes your franchise,
The hardest thing is, I don't want to generalise, but a lot of those players have to have an ego to get to that spot.
100%.
So you've got to think
you're
you've got
not
a
gonna
massive ego and you've got to sit. You've got to pretty much be there just in case.
Yeah, but you're not going to be a professional quarterback and not have a massive ego.
No,
because you're the general on the field. Like you're the play caller. So much rides on your shoulders. If you're
Trevor Lawrence is the only one who doesn't. Doesn't have any.
Beautiful hair. No, I agree with you, Danny. What's your coach's name?
Mine, Matt LaFleur.
LaFleur. Yeah. So
LaFleur.
what year is he in? Second.
Nah. He'll be going to his 5th year as well.
Oh,
I think.
5th year. There you go. So
Next year.
his continuity with Love will be huge. If I was him, I'd stay. Rodgers isn't going to go more than next year. I wouldn't have thought. Yeah, it's yours.
You heard it here
It's
first.
yours for the next. It's yours for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Stick around.
Yep,
Enjoy
fair
it. Keep doing your apprenticeship behind one of the best. One of the best to do it, and yeah.
huge hypothetical here, and this is going to really rustle your jimmies.
Ooh.
But
I will walk out.
let's say,
Angus, you're going to have to come in and take over.
let's say Rodgers does come back this coming season, and you go on to win the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Then what does Rodgers do?
Uh,
Does he walk away on top?
Out on a
Peyton
high.
Manning did, and I reckon, but Peyton Manning wasn't Peyton Manning when he finished, and he admits that. Like the defense,
He was a bit more
carried
shown
him.
the door, though, wasn't he?
Not when he left. I don't think. I reckon they would have taken him back again,
Okay.
even if it was. They had. Do you remember Brock Osweiler?
Negative.
Yeah. Well, he was kind of like a Jimmy G.
Yeah. Okay.
Sat behind Peyton and then
At,
got his own team.
at the
and-
Colts.
No.
At
He was-
Denver.
see, Peyton was shown the door at the Colts. He wasn't.
That's what I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
he wasn't
Yeah,
shown the
okay.
door at Denver. No,
Okay.
he was at Denver, and he played a lot of the year.
This other guy.
When Peyton was in and out, injured, and things like that. But then went and got his own team and stunk it up. So
Yeah.
Wasn't
No
quite Jimmy
one
G.
remembers his name now, do they?
But yeah, no, he wasn't shown the door. He was, but
Okay.
he definitely was carried by the defense that year, and he admits it was a defensive MVP in the Super Bowl. So yeah. So what was your question?
Will Rodgers go back again, or will he go out on top?
No, I reckon he'd go out on top.
Yeah.
That would be
Like I
my
said,
thing.
massive-
if we won it this year,
hypothetical.
he'd be done. I reckon
Yeah.
it was just more his unfinished business kind of
Yeah.
that
Yep.
kind of deal.
Yeah.
So, and last one, did you guys see that we lost a bid? Unfortunately, we had a $90,000 bid on a jar of sand that Tom Brady was sitting on.
I knew you were going for this.
Why couldn't you boys? You got short arms, long pockets. Couldn't help me out with a 90. I think we just lost.
It did go for 110,000.
Well, what's 20 grand between friends?
Did it actually sell?
I believe so.
Yeah, it sold for over 100 grand.
Oh, after my bid went down.
But also, like, how do you know if this is the actual sand that he was sitting on? Like,
It was photo proof. It was photo proof.
Oh.
He circled it.
It's the same perspective. Like it's got the same stuff. It was pretty cool. I like people that. No, I don't like it, but it's funny when people take those opportunistic moments and then it's like straight on eBay the next day. That sort of thing.
Speaking of, we're on Etsy, but I couldn't bring it in. Angus said I wasn't allowed to bring it in. We have two jars. I have 2 jars at home. I'm deciding whether I sell them or not. First jar has a bit of turf, and it's the turf where you did your knee. What kind of price would you put on that turf, mate?
I'd want
burn it.
I'd want it destroyed. I'd want it destroyed.
Well, we're not giving it to you then.
Okay.
The other jar had to be a bit different. It was a bit more of a weird shape to get it in there. It's got a tile in there, and it's the tile that you slipped on.
To break my collarbone.
Break your collarbone. How much are you paying for the tile?
Didn't realize that was a public story.
Well,
if I can go at it with a sledgehammer, that'd be fantastic. That was a longer injury than I'd ever expected.
Well, that's
Hey, but it got me here.
Not giving them to you, boys. They are going up on Etsy soon.
Okay.
And I'm thinking it'll match the 110.
We'll watch it closely then.
Yeah, maybe 110 Australian, not 110.
Why they got to be
US.
sad moments? Why couldn't they be happy moments?
All right, what do you want to bring?
No, I don't.
I just had to go down to Torquay Oval.
Yeah.
Is that where you did it?
Spring Creek Reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yep,
good.
yep.
Lucky. Half forward flank, half back for you, obviously.
Half back flank, yeah.
Picked it up. It was hard, but you'll notice a bit of sand.
Okay.
Just filled in the hole.
Filled in the hole. It's a good jar. Yeah. Maxi's actually currently bidding on it.
Yeah,
He's the number one.
yeah, that's fair enough. I don't know.
$45.
I don't doubt
Nice. All right, let's get into some Super Bowl. We're going to start with Dr.
that. The
D's.
real reason everyone's here.
Yes, Dr. D's IR. You are going to split it between you, I believe.
Yeah, we're going
Is
to
that
share the
right?
load. So Danny will take the Philly side of things, and I'll look after.
So
I'll look after Brendo's Chiefs in lieu of him being here.
It took me, 18, 19 weeks to get you a intro.
Yeah, now you
Week
still
2,
can't play
we
it.
don't have it.
bring. Dr. Danny's office.
Yeah, beautiful. Take it
That's
away.
not bad.
Yeah.
I'll just sit back and enjoy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll run through the Eagles stuff. Obviously, a lot of things potentially might change because they've still got the weekend to go before the Super Bowl.
Well, it's still Wednesday.
Yeah, still Wednesday over
Wednesday
there.
practice taking place over,
Yes,
over
sir.
there today.
Yeah, which I think will help them make a lot of decisions. But our Aussie boy Sipos, he is looking more and more likely to play. The Philly fan base is so behind him that they just want him in no matter what. But they're still deciding between the coaches whether he's actually going to play. Lane Johnson.
So they love him. Sorry, they love him over Kern.
yeah,
the current-
because
Kern,
because
Why-
Aaron's-
why is
Kern
that?
came in late. Do you reckon that's maybe why?
No,
Like,
maybe.
Sipos has been
Also-
there for a couple of years.
yeah.
now.
No, because they didn't. Philly love to hate, don't they?
Oh.
Like the fan
Yeah,
base,
yeah,
the fan
yeah.
base love to hate, and because
hate.
because his few kicks that he has had, like his few punts, haven't necessarily been great. Like one of them wasn't necessarily his fault where he hit the camera
Oh,
wire.
how stiff was that?
Yeah, but his average yards is like really low. It's like 34 yards or something, which
Okay.
is incredibly small for a punter.
Yeah.
So
But
it's just,
that's a bit harsh because that might just mean that you're getting him in good position. You might only have 40 yards to play with.
Yeah,
and then he's
that's
got 5
tough.
inside
Looking
the
at the
20.
stat on its
Yeah.
own, you need the
Yeah, how many of those
perspective of what.
34 yards have been inside the 10?
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Stop throwing out stats.
it's not me. It's the Philly fan
No, no,
base.
no,
I'm
You're
just-
part of the Philly fan base.
I'm just in touch with my Eagles nation.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he's looking at being elevated off IR tomorrow, I think.
I thought he was already on the 21 day.
Today being
I thought it was Thursday. But anyway.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
He's a chance to
Yeah,
play.
he's looking likely, and he's been interviewed, and he said he's ready to go and he wants to play. So,
Oh, yeah, of course he does.
fingers crossed for us Australian fans that he actually gets to suit up and play.
Can you carry 2 punters?
You could, but I don't know if you would. It'll
Yeah.
get into your numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the boys in the background.
Yeah, couple of sirens. Lane Johnson is questionable, and that is important because he's probably the one who's facing directly up against Jones, which we'll touch on as we go through the game. Maddox is also questionable, and Jurgens is also questionable, but they're both second stringers.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. On the Kansas City side of things, so Willie Gay, Kadarius Toney, and Juju Smith-Schuster are all listed as questionable, but expected to take part in practice today.
Did it say what injuries they have? Sorry.
So-
Sorry to throw you under the boat.
Well, that's definitely under the bus.
Under
but
the bus even.
Willie Gay,
I'm
I think,
drowning
was a
you.
slight shoulder.
Yeah, I'm thinking more the wide receiver because they went out during the game.
They
didn't
did.
Was
one of them a groin?
Strings and groins and
I
stuff.
think it was a groin.
No,
I
so
think,
I
like,
think, I
is it
think,
2
I think
weeks?
McCole Hardman, who's on injury reserve and ruled out, he was groin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it was like pelvis or something, wasn't it?
Oh, well,
same
yeah,
area, but
same area.
pelvis is groin.
general.
Stand by. We might be able to find that. But Legarius Sneed, he was in concussion protocols. He's got through that. He's cleared.
He's cleared.
Yeah, so he's been cleared. So that's good. And another one, a possibility that might happen. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, he's been out since November with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
He's a running back for the Chiefs. He's a chance. So he's been elevated from injury reserve with Hardman going on. So he's a chance to come back in
That'd be
and maybe
huge
bolster
in.
the ranks. So because he can.
I reckon him and Pacheco work well together.
They will. And Hardman can. Edwards-Hilaire, he can sort of play that rushing back role too. So
in the
if they're a bit
backfield.
light on in those receiving ranks, which
Yeah.
potentially they are with those boys being questionable, it could be a big in for them. So one to watch come game time. But other than that, that's it for the Chiefs.
What about the
obviously, the big news is like Mahomes with his high ankle.
So what about the two QBs?
He apparently is feeling much better. I'm still not 100%. Like he's going to be getting treatment up until game time.
Yeah.
Just to get himself as close to 100% as he can. But he's feeling much better. He said, I think Andy Reid said they had a high-speed practice or, something similar the other day, and he was moving really well. So he's doing good. And obviously, Kelsey had complaints of a back strain leading into
it was
the
spasms
AFC
or
Championship
something.
game. Didn't show up at all during the game, but I think just something to watch. Just it could be their underlying backs can be pretty fickle. They can come and go. So could be something to watch. But yeah, that's it for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and with Hurts, like you said, we want to touch on the quarterbacks. I think even with the way that he played 2 weeks ago, he almost looked like he wasn't really carrying much of it. He says that he is. He still says that he's not 100%, but I don't know if that's like...
He didn't throw much though, did he?
No, it was definitely a big rushing game in general. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do a similar thing, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, he didn't throw a lot, but when he did throw,
A couple of deep balls.
it was a couple of really long bombs. So I feel like he's going to be looking even better than what he was then.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like the talk for him, like he's had enough time off with that shoulder. It was just like getting rid of a little bit of rust, is what they
Yeah,
call
I
it.
reckon.
So just time out of the game. So I think you're right. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
But they just
You can't find any articles really where it's saying anything otherwise.
no, he's right to go. He's
He's
cherry
good.
right. He's cherry
He's
right.
cherry.
Do you reckon you would find articles?
No.
Even if they weren't 100%?
Yeah, no. But I think that's also why he's coming out and saying that he's not 100%. Is just to throw him off because
Little
then
bit of
they're
mind
like,
games.
yeah,
Yeah.
a bit of mind games. So then like
Strap the other shoulder.
yeah, no, like
love
because
that
then
tactic.
the Chiefs might be like trying to defend the rushing game a lot more than the passing.
Yeah.
And then
And
what
then
if
he
he goes
comes out
out and he just non-stop throws the whole time and doesn't even rush a yard?
Yeah,
So because he's like, oh yeah, my shoulder's still sore, I can't throw as well.
That won't help my
I
multi.
like it. I like it.
I haven't put it together, but I can tell you that won't help my multi. All right, we haven't really spoken about how we're going to do this, but are you going to be? Who do you think's going to win? Just secretly.
Oh, you want to do that now?
No, I'm just thinking. Do we do like Danny being the Eagles side and you being
I was going to say probably Danny Eagles, you Chiefs.
me Chiefs?
Yeah.
And you're going to
I
facilitate
can
the middle.
facilitate this.
All right.
So well, yeah. So in
Do you want
terms
to
of
start with offense or defense?
how the game's going to roll for the weekend, we want your opinions. So, Danny, give us your rundown on the Philly offense and how it's going to go. T-Mac, you're going to give us a rundown on the Chiefs defense and how they're going to match up head-to-head. So, Danny
Go.
can go first.
Yep, let me just get to my offense. So
He's got notes.
I do. I've got lots of notes. Hey, it's all up here, but I've got it down there as well, just in case. So obviously, Eagles got their dynamic duo in their wide receivers with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Both were 1,000+ yards. I think it was actually close to 1,200+ yards. So
AJ nearly 1,500.
yeah, so they're both realistically, on any other side, they'll be 100% the number one option.
Yeah.
Because they're both on the same side. That is a dangerous.
Who is number one? Just quickly. Who do you think's number one?
It's hard. Like, I reckon they...
AJ.
I was going to say...
I think Brown.
And because they traded for him, I think the Philly organisation, because they did trade for him to make sure that he does want to re-sign with
Get
them.
some more ball through him.
Yeah, get some more ball through him and, like, trying to give him more of that, mentality that he's like, oh, yeah, I'm the number one guy. I'm going to sign back here.
Yeah.
So I reckon Philly, you're looking at as a long game. So, yeah, they'll be looking at AJ Brown as the number one. But in saying that, Devontae Smith still incredible wide receiver.
Yeah.
So it'll be something to look out for. And like we said, if Hurts is playing mind games about his passing, they're two players to definitely be watching for sure. And then like we saw last week, the week before's game, there was so much stuff done on the ground. So the rushing game between Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Kenneth Gainwell. Yeah. So yeah, all three of those guys can do incredible things on the ground as well. And we already touched on it, but the offensive line that Philly have, they're going to give Jalen Hurts as much time as he needs to either make a passing play, or if they're going to do a running play, or if he's going to rush himself. I feel like that offensive line, as long as everyone is healthy, as much as they're saying that they are, and there isn't any injuries during the game, they're going to protect him as much as possible. So then it all comes down to like what decisions and what plays they make, whether they're going to do it on the ground or in the air. But with having such a strong offensive whole side of the field, it's going to be really interesting to see if the Chiefs defense can actually keep up with that.
Quickly, before we go to T-Mac for his thoughts on the Chiefs D.
Give me as much time as you can.
Passing, is it going to be a passing or a rushing game? For, I know you said it's going to be in-game decisions, but what way do you feel that sort of lean?
I reckon it will just come down to how the Chiefs defense comes out, and then they'll probably make the decisions from that.
Yeah.
I think with Hurts having so much time since his injury, like what are we at now? It's 8 weeks, maybe?
I think it's at least
6 to 8 weeks. Let's just say 6 to 8 weeks.
Hurts hurt himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we had Minshew Mania, remember?
Yeah, because we had Minshew. He played 3 games. But then,
I'm thinking, look, it's only been 4 weeks, but Mahomes has only been.
Hurts, because he had 3 games off when we had Minshew Mania, and then he came back and played the last game of the season.
Was it Minshew Mania? Like, I love him, but you lost 2 of those games.
Was it his game against Dallas, where he actually was incredible? It was just a couple of things towards the end of the game that didn't go his way.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I'm always gonna support Minshew. I like him. I like him as a player. So
you know who Ian Book is?
Stop sidetracking us.
He's your third stringer. Just saying.
We don't need to get to our third stringer. It's not gonna happen.
Well, that's where.
All right. Well, we'll throw it over to you, Macca, and the Kansas City defense. Who's going to control the game for you? Well, not for you, but for the Kansas City defense.
Listening, do you have any notes for me? Yeah, sweet. All right, I'll go off the top of my head. I kind of agree with what you're saying though. Like it will depend on the O-line. Whether, the likes of Jones, and Jones can be such a game wrecker that he doesn't have to get to him. They're going to double team him if they need to. And, I reckon for a fair portion they will be. That's where Frank Clark and Willie Gay will come in. They'll clean up the sacks. They'll be the ones that are, breaching that O-line. And that's where they're going to have to. They have to. If they don't, then Hurts is just going to sit back. He's going to use the run game just so they don't keep, pretty much just rushing the.
And that's the thing. If he does keep on using his run game, then when he does sit back and sit in the pocket, he's going to have more time because they're going to be like, well, if we push too hard at him, he's just going to run past us. So if he does start to use his rushing game, then it's going to give him more time when he does decide that he actually wants to throw the ball.
But I think those boys they're smart enough. This is not their first rodeo. Like they were there for 2018. They got to Brady. It was just that Brady was on that year. But, Chris Jones, especially, getting his first couple of sacks in the postseason, he's going to want more. And Frank Clark and, like I said, Willie Gay, they just kind of mop up when Chris Jones is getting a lot of the attention. But I reckon a guy who doesn't get much notoriety is their strong safety, Justin Reed. Like, he's such a smart footballer. Like, if you sit back and just watch, he'll be another one that'll come in. He'll rush strong. So you'll see him come from the backfield, So that's where, it's. I don't know much more I can say. It's going to be one. If your O-line can hold them back, I can't see they're going to have to outscore you. That's where I think they can. But if they can get to Hurts, if they can put him down once or twice, that shoulder just flares up a little bit. They can jab him all you want. It's always going to be sore. And if they do rely on that run game, they're big boys. They're stopping the run game.
I think the Chiefs' issue is when you're actually in the red zone. So when you're in that 20-yard before...
It's not bend, not break it. They're getting through.
Sorry?
they're not bend and break. They're
Yeah,
getting
so
through a
they actually allow on 67% of their in the red zone actually allow touchdowns, and Philly has one of the best.
They were one of the worst in the league, weren't they?
Chiefs were one of the worst in the
Yeah.
league. So if Philly can get down to there, Philly are one of the best. They have a 67% success rate in the red zone. So that is a shocking combination for the Chiefs.
Bad versus good.
60% of the time, it works.
But yeah, it's an absolute shocking combination for the Chiefs. I think what the Chiefs really need to do is they need to come out on the offense and score.
They need to score early.
They need to score
well-
early and get a stop.
Well, let's flip it. T-Mac,
Yeah.
Chiefs offense.
Well, I think that so for a team that has, a lot of people saying that they're starting a dynasty. They were there 2 years ago. They lost. Mahomes wasn't 100%. He had the ankle injury 2 years ago. Hopefully that doesn't show up again this year. But
Is history repeated?
Is history repeating? That's what I'm kind of worried about. But they're getting like all the money. I'm pretty sure we can see all the money is on Philly. Realistically,
They're 1.5 point favourites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretty sure. I know on the
The
American
line started with the Chiefs
1.5
as
point
favourites, and then it
favourites, yeah.
flipped
It's
very
flipped,
quickly.
and it hasn't
Hasn't
changed.
changed. Hasn't changed.
I'm
Hasn't
pretty-
moved.
You can see on sports bet and stuff where the money is going.
I'm not sure. I never looked.
Yeah, I think you can see like what other people have bet on.
Yeah, but you can see it. And I'm pretty sure that most of the money, like
Definitely in
two-thirds
the
of the money,
States. Definitely in the
is
States. A lot of the money is on
on
the
Philly.
birds. Yeah.
Realistically, what have you done? I'm just is this building towards the
your offense?
Chiefs.
Well, you talk about their offense.
Just as a whole,
as a
I'm
whole.
getting there. It's Patrick Mahomes. When you talk about the Chiefs, you talk about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's got a chip on his shoulder because no one is giving them a chance.
Oh, he's gonna.
Yeah, but everyone's put money on Philly. I know you have, and you're probably leaning that way too. But that's for someone who, I don't want to go out on a limb. I'm picking him for MVP.
Yeah, well, he's a unicorn in his position. Like, his ability to throw the ball is like next to none, but also his scrambling game is so incredible. So, like, his ability.
Thank you for taking my point.
No, but his ability. I'm not going to sit here as an Eagles fan and say I'm not worried about the Chiefs. Of course, we're worried about the Chiefs. You're going up against MVP, like a regular season MVP, a Super Bowl MVP. Like you said, they've gone to
the AFC Championship game every year. He's been
5
quarterback.
years.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah,
Second
yeah,
minute,
5 years, yeah.
And then 2 Super Bowl visits, 1 Super Bowl win, and when he did win the Super Bowl, he got the Super Bowl MVP against
And a huge comeback against San Fran as well.
Yeah, and then you go on
We were
against.
Not there, but we were watching it.
And then you go against
we were
a quarterback
Small
who
day. That was a small day.
the quarterback is only in his 3rd year starting.
Yeah.
His 3rd year in the league, only second year starting.
starting.
Like, I
And
understand.
coming into this year, they did not know if he was the man.
Yeah, and he
He
just
had so much doubts about, and like credit to him, he's come out and he's balled out.
yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, what has he done to be deserving?
I don't think
this?
it's Hurts. I don't think it's Hurts alone.
It's
Like
the
obviously,
team. It's the
obviously
team.
Hurts is come out and done a lot and
But
surprised a
what
lot
has
of
Patrick
people.
Mahomes done wrong then?
No, it's not that. It's the Phillies
It is.
team.
It's 1 versus 1.
No, it's not. It's but Phillies team, like top to bottom, offensive and defense, is stacked. Like I went through when I was going through the Phillies offense. The only person you spoke about so far when talking about the Chiefs offense is Mahomes.
Okay, well, so we've already spoken about Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back. So they're going to have
Potentially.
they're going to have a 3-headed running back.
Yeah. But which they
and
may
2 of
need,
them-
which they may need if their wide receiver core is
Correct.
questionable.
It's already on this one that I'm looking at. It's got Kadarius Toney as questionable. He's the only one,
Yeah. So it's update. Juju is no longer questionable.
not according to this.
Okay.
So Juju's number 1, and Valdez-Scantling has shown last week.
Yeah, he
that
balled out. When
That he's more than serviceable.
chips were down a little bit, he had to,
Correct.
and he did. So
they still had Kelsey,
yep.
but with
Number 1.
slight back issues possibly.
Yep.
So he's always number 1. But if you've got Smith-Schuster, Valdez-Scantling, and then Sky Moore and Justin Watson was slotting in to that number 4 spot. So they're getting, maybe 1 or 2 passes a game. They're nobodies, but they're good nobodies.
They've got Mahomes throwing to him.
They've got
Yeah.
Mahomes throwing to him. Exactly. He's putting it in like they were showing that game from 2 years ago against the Bucks. There was a throw. The game was on the line. If he hits it, it's changes the game. I'm not saying they win, but it changes the game. He was vertical and threw it 30 yards down and Tyreek Hill dropped it. He didn't make a bad throw. Tyreek Hill. This bloke is.
That's the thing, he's a freak.
He's a freak.
He's an absolute freak, and
So-
there's absolutely no denying that.
But
I just think
if they're semi-healthy,
yeah.
I reckon they're putting on 30 against you guys. So it's whether you can do the same to them.
You think even if they are healthy, they're going to put 30 on Philly's defense?
Yep.
Well, so Birds defense.
I don't know what the
Now's your
Amazons is, but I'm
time.
going
Now's
over.
your time, Danny. Tell us about the Birds defense.
So,
How they gonna-
Actually, no,
how they
one
gonna
more
stop-
thing. We've said Jason.
You've had your time.
Jason Kelsey, if he's top 2 centre, Creed Humphrey is the other top 2 centre. So they've got the 2 best centres going out there. So that I reckon that nullifies that one.
he's got 1 for 1. They just don't exist anymore.
He's out.
So
We're playing flag football. He's gone.
So Philly had 70 sacks in the regular season, which was already the 3rd highest in NFL history. Then they've had 8 more sacks in the playoffs. So now they are 5 sacks away from breaking the 84. Oh, what team actually? The
84 Bears.
Yeah, the 84 Bears record.
All-time record, isn't it?
All-time record of
You got so many more stats than I do.
Someone did their homework. Yeah.
What did Mahomes do wrong?
Smart. Can you send us a run sheet? Yeah, I'll worry about that one.
So they're only 5 sacks away from beating that record, and the team who has the number 2 is the 85 Bears at 80 sacks. So they've at least
So
got
84 and then 85, number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
They were pretty
obviously you'd be looking at them
You
as-
know that they're aware of that stat. They're going out hungry.
they're going out
they're
hungry
looking
for
sacks.
like Reddick is just going to be like a shark, just going. He's just going to be hunting like
Was
a
that a
shark.
shark?
Yeah, I like that. Fins up.
Yeah, I'm not a dolphin. No, it's a shark.
Sharks have fins too.
He's going to go out hunting and absolutely try and sack Mahomes as much as possible. But Mahomes is a hard person to sack, was where the record kind of, may or may not come. But they're definitely going to be thinking about it in the back of their head. Even if they get, 2 more sacks, then they can be at least equal with the 85 Bears, which is still an incredible, even where they're at now with the
And the 80s Bears were phenomenal.
yeah, you'd say some of the best defense in NFL history.
Well, I'd say top 2. Probably not 2.
Like I was saying, sacking Patrick Mahomes 5 times is definitely not going to be easy, but they're going to be going out there with a massive chip on the shoulder. We know that Reddick's going to be out there hunting. I think they've got such a strong defensive line, and even Darius Slay, he'll be trying to stop anything going any further than the actual line of scrimmage. I just think their defense is better than potentially what the Chiefs offense can put on them.
I disagree.
Well, so leading into that, just off the back of that chat, just quickly for you boys, who one from each team, who's your wild card? Who's your X factor that's going to probably turn the non-QB, but turn the game for you guys? I'll make you go first, Danny.
Yes, great decision.
I've only got one person I can pick.
It's the same for me, actually.
Yeah.
Not Miles, but Pacheco. So
Yeah,
same
yeah,
position.
same position.
The rushing game for both you boys. Yeah.
For those who are listening, I was touching the helmet, which is Miles Sanders' helmet. The running.
Touching the helmet.
Oh God.
Sorry.
So Miles Sanders is definitely going to be the wild card. He had an incredible running game. He's had an incredible running all season.
Yep.
As well, rushed for over 1,000 yards throughout the regular season. He's definitely going to be one that the Chiefs are going to have to keep their eye on.
And for you, it's the rushing game as well.
I'm saying Pacheco, but even just looking across all 3, so McKinnon has more receiving touchdowns than he does rushing touchdowns, and I think he had more receiving touchdowns than some big names. I don't have them now, but some big names. So
They're up there.
I reckon the whole running back core will be, especially if Edwards-Helaire comes back, because he is a strong runner, and Pacheco they use the word violent when he runs, just because he's not big, but he just runs hard. So I think if they can come out and, you're not going to be rushing that hard, or on the other side, I mean. So Hassan Reddick and that, they're not going to be pushing up to get to Mahomes if Pacheco's
If the running
flying
game's on
past
fire.
them. Yeah, if the running game's on.
Well, you've sort of both alluded to it that it's going to be on the defense, how the games went, for either side, how the games won or lost, and a big part of testing that defense is the running game and rushing.
I also think
the ball.
for the Chiefs side, hopefully they're not listening to this. Hopefully they are, but for other reasons.
Hi, Andy.
I think for the Chiefs as well, to get past the Phillies defense, if Mahomes has a couple of really quick plays and gets the ball out of his hand as quick as possible, whether it is to Pacheco or if he's thrown really quick, I think that's going to be the best thing to throw Philly's defense off. So then they don't really understand like what he's going to do and where he's going to go. Eliminate his own scramble game just in the start, just for the first drive, just to try and throw off Philly's defense.
Make these defenses, second guess things.
Second guess everything.
Don't know what's coming. A pass,
and I think he's a smart enough quarterback and
scramble.
they're going to have a smart enough coached game that they're going to be probably looking at doing something like that.
How does Sirianni and Hurts come out if Mahomes goes bang bang and you're 14 down? Because you have not been down in many, if any, games this year.
We had one comeback, didn't we?
One.
Yeah, which isn't good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
it's not good. I wasn't saying
what
that.
happens if they come out and go bang bang?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able? Because he's had the best QBR all year, but he's been up all year.
Up all year, yeah. So it is going to be the test that we didn't want to happen in the Super Bowl. That's when everyone was saying like, "Oh, you're happy Brock Purdy got injured." So
Yeah.
I was like, no. Because I wanted Philly to be tested.
Yeah.
You wanted to have a harder game. Like obviously, you didn't want anyone to be injured.
Was it the Giants you beat?
Smash the Giants.
Smash the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. And then you beat a depleted, although I don't think they played as good as they should have, a depleted 49ers team. So you haven't had much running in.
Yeah.
I reckon Jacksonville, who Kansas beat, they would have beaten the 49ers last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of teams would have
A lot of
probably
teams
beat
would
the 49ers. They crumbled once Brock went down, as we spoke about last week.
So that's I reckon if they come out and score early, you're in all sorts of trouble.
Philly are in a lot of trouble. If they come out and they get scored on the both, opening drives, the first two drives that the Chiefs had, Philly are going to be in a position that they haven't been in pretty much all year, and they're going to have to try and get back. So then really they're going to rely even more on their defense again. So Hurts just has to flip a switch in his head, just be like it's 0-0. We just got to go out and score every single drive. And if they do that, they've got to really rely on their defense to get some stops.
Yeah.
To get some stops.
But if they come out and it's 14 zip, Kansas's defense is going, you know what, we are just all out attack here.
Yeah.
If we can get one more score, 21 zip.
Or even just one more stop. Yeah. You give the Chiefs the ball again when they're 14 up. We're looking close to game over then.
Milk clock. Yeah.
So,
Nice.
yeah, that'll be an
Do you
incredibly...
think it's going to be a defensive game? Or like we said last week that the 49ers, or 2 weeks ago, that the 49ers Eagles were going to be defensive minded. Do you think this one will be? We're both like...
This is the thing we've spoken about the most.
Yeah, but it's more just because of the offensive lines, I think if they are able to hold it, is it going to be a shootout or is it still going to be able to
I think you're
hold
going to
the
still see some
scores?
dynamic offense, but it's how the defenses react is who's going to fare better. So it's a weird way to say it, but yeah, the offense is going to be crucial, obviously, to winning the game. But it's how the defense will react. And, yeah.
So I think we figured this out recently in our group chat. The person who scores the most
I
wins.
think that's
Yeah. If you don't win, you lose.
Yeah.
because they're both such strong offensive
Apparently,
units.
if you don't win, you learn,
Yeah, I did
which
hear
is
that.
shit. Because you still lose.
It's a shit lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be weird that it's going to be a heavily defense-minded game.
Did you go the unders?
But I'm going the overs.
Oh,
I reckon it's going to be a huge score, but the defense is going to have such a huge part in it, which is
that's what I was trying to articulate.
it's so
hard
weird
to
to say.
explain.
But
It's hard to explain.
I reckon they'll both score. I reckon 30 plus, both teams.
Yeah, so
But
I know we're gonna
which
be-
mean,
awesome.
could be 5 sacks each.
Love
We-
to see a shootout.
we're
Yeah.
gonna get into it later, I'm sure. But Sportsbet have actually put out one of those exotic bets. And just because we're on the topic at the moment, if you pick the correct score of Philly getting 37 and the Chiefs getting 34, so
Is that
obviously
because everything's
my Eagles get the win.
scripted?
No, yeah, it's because everything's scripted. I actually think it says like NFL's rigged or something in this description. But
Dirty?
it's paying $82.
Yeah.
82
So
to
you
1.
should if you're picking the right score.
Yeah, 37 to 34. But that's leaning into what you're saying. Surely you're not thinking it's going any higher than that.
Yeah, it's called the Super Bowl script.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, there you go. I knew it was something along those lines.
Inclusive of
How much is it
overtime.
paying to go OT? If you can get that up. We're going to talk about exotic lines, or exotic things. So
Yeah,
maybe we
we'll
can
get
give
to
you a couple minutes and,
Yeah.
and we can get to that.
Well, but obviously, the two of us have harped on enough about it. Katz,
Yeah, great call.
do you have any thoughts?
What's going to happen, Cardi?
No, I totally agree with everything that you guys have said, and that's it. Nah, I'm tipping the Birds. I think just the questions around the health of the Chiefs and just the strength of the Birds list as a whole, I think it's going to come through. Yeah, Mahomes and those guys have got the experience and the playoff and Super Bowl experience, and Jalen's so new and only in his second year as a starter and all that sort of stuff. But Mahomes had to start somewhere. I think this is
when he
Hurts
did,
starting
though,
somewhere.
like, this is what I was trying to get at before. Third year starting, or second year starting.
Second.
They were saying that Mahomes was in Brady, like him and Brady were having it off. Like Jalen, they're not saying that he's in Brady territory already.
But Jalen's different again, and he's the new prototype of the rushing quarterback. He had 13 rushing touchdowns alone this year to go with,
and then a couple in the postseason as well.
Yeah, so a few in the postseason.
Yeah, so they can.
This is regular season stats.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to go with his passing yards, and the knock on him has been potentially that his accuracy hasn't quite been there with his passing, but that's only going to get better with time. But
they're still winning.
As he gets more comfortable, and they're still winning.
They're still in 13-0. Like if his passing has to be accurate enough to go 13-0.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm leaning towards Birds.
I understand as well. Like Philly, a lot of people were saying online that Philly had, I think it was like the third or fourth easiest regular season. Regular season.
We're only hiring it, mate. Don't break it. We've got the boss sitting here watching this.
I don't think that was me.
Oh, God.
They had like third or fourth easiest, and the Chiefs had the like equal fifth hardest.
Because where did the Birds
regular season?
They missed the playoffs last year, didn't they? The Birds.
Yep.
So that would have weighted into who they play against, obviously. So where the Chiefs made the AFC.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
That's where
Eagles.
That's what we're coming against. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just agreeing with you. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, my point is, like what we're saying, like where you're saying Mahomes versus Hurts, like they are to me still on different levels. But I feel like Hurts has proven this year that he does have the potential to be like knocking on Mahomes' door one day. I'm not saying he's there yet, but if his passing game does improve, the fact that he is that combo quarterback where he has such a strong rushing game, that he's definitely a different style of quarterback, but doesn't mean that there needs to be a set mold of like this is how the NFL is going to be. This is the sort of quarterback.
It's changing.
Yeah, it's definitely
It evolves.
Well, it goes through turns and roundabouts and
swings and roundabouts. He's not at Mahomes' level yet, but let's say they win this Super Bowl, then like he's got to be thrown in some form of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will speak of said conversations now. So you obviously two going. I'm going against the Birds.
We are going the Birds over here.
Thank you for answering for me.
Well,
thanks for patting my helmet.
The helmet on the table, everyone.
We've had it out for
helmet
long
on the
enough.
table. It's extra shiny today.
It needed a little pat.
We're going to
Polished
talk
it.
about the NFL honours because you might polish it more if this comes.
Well, before we
through.
move on, do you want to do the exotics now or later?
I reckon after this.
Okay.
Because it might come into it maybe.
Sure.
I don't know what exotic markets you have, but we'll talk about the honours because it's coming out today, their time tomorrow. Make sense? The 9th over there, which is Thursday. So we're going to go through and pick.
Yep. Each
And
category.
then I don't want too long, but just we'll go category by category and we'll finish with the MVP. Maybe one or two sentences as to why you've picked said person.
Okay.
Danny. Everyone in the bus. I know who Danny's picked because he sent me the spreadsheet. We can chuck in Coach of the Year too.
Sure.
Maybe we'll start with Coach of the Year. So I didn't actually realise that they had to be nominated. But we've got Daboll McDermott from the Bills. We've got Pedersen from the Jags, Shanahan from the Niners, and Sirianni from the Eagles.
Do I even need to answer?
You don't. I know who you've picked.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
We touched on it a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I'm going with Doug Peterson of the Jags.
Nice.
I just lean more towards what have they done
with who?
who they've got and like the level of improvement. And I know Sirianni's had an amazing year and all that sort of stuff, but just with
He's also had the team. Like we
Exactly.
said, he's
So
got
with-
the team, and that's why they are in the Super Bowl because they do have the team. Like their roster, top to bottom, is incredible,
Yeah.
and it will be easier to coach a really well-rounded team rather than what he's done with the Jags.
I just feel like Peterson with the Jags he's a
Gone
better
from less than zero.
better coaching effort. So
Gone from a coach that kicked the run like the kicker. Well,
yeah, exactly. So I've gone with Dougie there.
Yeah. So you go on Sirianni. The only thing I can say in like defense of Sirianni being it is he's had him for a couple of years, and when he started with him, so it might not be coach of the year, it might be coach of a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because when he started, you were trash.
Well, it's the same thing. Yeah.
As soon as we won the Super Bowl in 2017, after that it was a massive
Downhill.
It was a massive dump.
Which was Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
Dougie boy.
But yeah, it was a massive
Philly.
dump. So then,
You want Philly?
Greatest player ever.
So
I
cool.
love it.
and then so then when Sirianni came in, he did build up the team. Like obviously that has a lot to do with management as well, and like the players and stuff that they've signed, and the trades and all of that. But he still had to get the team to where they are now, which is in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm going Sirianni.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hard to argue.
I would have said prior to last game 2 weeks ago, probably Kyle Shanahan would have been one of my picks, but it really disappointed me their game 2 weeks ago. Just the way they exploded.
The honours is
Imploded.
regular season only.
They
Oh no,
imploded.
It sways you.
I think they exploded. That's how bad it was. So I'm probably leaning similar to Carts, and I'm going to say Brian Daboll with the Giants for what they had. You know?
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
We gave them no chance at the start of the year.
Oh God,
No
we
chance.
gave the whole
when they
whole
kept
NFC
winning,
East,
when
we
they
gave
kept
nothing.
winning, we're like, how are they still winning?
Yeah. So that's my choice.
Yep. Nah, can't agree. With that.
Comeback player of the year. There's only three: Barkley from the Giants, McCaffrey from the Niners, and your man Smith from the Seahawks.
Big Gino. Surprisingly, I actually went with Saquon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so did I.
Did you?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, you were there.
And I just thought he had such a dominant year. Like, and when you could, it was kind of the proof was in the pudding when he wasn't doing well and wasn't.
nice handshake.
Yeah, thank you.
That's perfect.
That was nice.
Good.
Hope you could see it behind me. But when he had an off game, like the Giants were nowhere.
Yeah.
So, and like, it's probably not great to be relying on a single player so much, but for him personally, I thought his year was outstanding, and off the back of a couple of injury-riddled years, yeah, definitely in that comeback player of the year sort of bracket for mine.
Yeah, and shout out to all the Giants fans out there as well.
Yeah.
So they got a massive fan base too.
Yeah.
We love the Giants.
So, yeah, we love
And
the
they'll be
Giants.
very happy because we're actually going 3 from 3.
Hey.
I
Yeah.
agreed. And same thing. I remember when he came out, his first year, he was beyond enormous. Like, he changed games for them.
Yep.
And then had the knee issues, and then just everyone was just doubting him coming back. And to have a year that he did come back, and it's good to see.
Yeah.
So 3 from 3. Defensive rookie of the year, we've got Sauce Gardner from the Jets, Aiden Hutchinson from the Lions, and Tariq Woolen from the Seahawks.
This was it. I went Sauce Gardner. I think I saw a stat that he gave up the least amount of, like, for per man-on-man coverage. I can't remember how the stat was explained or whatever, but he gave out the smallest amount with man-to-man coverage, I think, throughout the years. And he was an absolute beast. Like,
With the most amount of swagger.
yeah, he's a legend too.
He's got
Like,
a Sauce
yeah,
chain.
it's so cool.
Yeah, I went for Hutchinson because like where the Lions, where we thought they were going to be, to what they actually were in the season. I think a lot of that did have to do with like some of the defense and stuff. So yeah, I went for Hutchinson in that sense.
I went for Woolen,
Also,
one each.
one each.
And mine is because Gardner and Hutchison, everyone thought that's what they were going to be. Where Woolen went,
'cause it
further
was
down in the draft,
More of a surprise.
much more of a surprise, and had just as big an impact, I reckon. Like
Sure.
the Seahawks defense at one point, like early on, he's early on, so how much game time he was getting, not 100% sure. But they were, was it the Seahawks and the Lions were giving up the most and scoring the most?
Yeah,
Like,
it was those two that were tag teaming.
But it was the defense that turned it around. And,
Yeah.
and he was one of them. Like he had 6 or 7 takeaways. Like that's huge for
Change the script
a
for him.
rookie. Yeah,
Oh, script.
he read it early. He read it early. So yeah, one each. Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Offensive rookie of the year, we got Brock, your man, Kenneth Walker from the Seahawks as well, and Garrett Wilson from our friendly Jets.
I've gone for Kenneth Walker III. I thought Purdy, obviously amazing, had an amazing 6-game stretch in the regular season,
Yeah.
I think it was. But
Yeah.
just Walker was more consistent throughout the year and like exploded onto the scene kind of thing. First year starting and putting up huge numbers. So that's why I went with Walker.
Yeah, if Brock had played the whole season and wasn't,
Yeah,
didn't
would have
just-
been a no-brainer.
It would have been a no-brainer, 100%. Like, because he went in and
Didn't
the
lose,
numbers.
that'd have been an easy one.
Yeah, the numbers that he was putting up were, if he had played the whole season, were almost MVP numbers.
Yeah.
It was incredible, and he didn't lose in the regular season. So if he had played the whole season, it would have been bang, 100% would have been Brock. But yeah, I went for Kenneth Walker the third as well because of like I find it hard to give someone an award if they haven't played.
Yeah, it's
Like-
definitely a tough one where, Kenneth did it for the whole year,
Yeah,
where,
I think an element of consistency's got to be taken into account, like these.
especially
these
being
awards.
a rookie.
Yeah,
Because they say, so, and I think I touched on it a little bit with Thomas the other day. You finish the season in your senior year, your last year of college, and you're straight into training for the combine.
Yep.
which then you're straight into rookie camp, which is straight into preseason camp.
Non-stop,
It's
yeah.
something. It's like 18 months of you pretty much
Straight.
got no break. So a lot of them will get burnt out. So yeah, definitely agree having that
Coming out and
sense
performing for the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year.
Yep.
I really like Kenneth Walker too, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to pick Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Beautiful.
Shout out to the Jets fans.
We
out
should-
there.
we should,
all Jets fans.
Love you, Jets.
We should
We
have
love
wrote
you,
these
Jets.
down so we actually know.
Everyone else has them written down apart from you, T-Max. So
Great point. Offensive player of the year. We've got Tyreek, Jalen Jefferson,
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, and Patrick.
I've gone for JJ, Justin Jefferson. Put up the most.
Do you guys? Can you see what music?
I put up the most. He put up the biggest receiving yards. I was over 1,800. I think there was a stat about something about the first one to do it consecutive years or the number of times he's done it, whatever it is.
He's in his third year too.
Breaking records. Interesting that no running backs nominated in Offensive Player of the Year. And I think on the list of like touchdown scorers, like the list of the highest touchdown scorers for the year, Devontae Adams was the highest receiver with 14, and he might have been third or fourth on the list. But like, it's all running backs, and like JJ's, I think 20th on the list for scoring touchdowns. So it's just weird that but it's just weird that like the running backs aren't in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year. I found that funny. Interesting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Your man, JJ. He would have been up there.
Yes.
The other JJ.
yeah, so I picked the same as Karts for all the reasons Karts said, and because he plays for the Vikings, and I know how much you hate the Vikings, so that swayed a little bit.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
That's a nice little.
that swayed a little bit
nice
into
little
my
cherry on top.
my picking.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know how hard it is for me to not pick him?
Yeah.
But I'm not picking him because he's the Vikings. Who do I go for? I don't want to pick Hurts because he's the Eagles. I don't think Tyreek Hill.
Is it often with this award, you can teach me some history here, is it often with this award, if they're voted for MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, like let's
They'll
say
get one or the other.
will you get one or the other, or can you potentially get both?
I'm pretty sure you could win both. It would
Okay.
make sense.
So it's not like they're like,
So that'd be like saying,
let's
say
give
Brock
Mahomes.
Purdy had the whole year.
Yeah.
Can he not win Offensive Rookie of the Year? Because if he wins, say he had the MVP season, like
Yeah.
you were saying,
Well, he is. You've got to be the
you
offensive
have to
rookie.
be.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to be. Yeah. So
Yeah, but I didn't know if they gave, like, let's say they give Mahomes the MVP. So then, like, here's a like, second award.
you were actually
Hurts.
second.
Yeah, yeah. But here, have the offensive player, which to me doesn't make sense.
Nah, I'm pretty sure it'll be.
It'd be both.
Yeah.
if they're
I
gonna
reckon you're not guaranteed. Like, so Jefferson wins Offensive Player of the Year. He's not guaranteed to win MVP.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know if it was the
But
other
I
way
reckon
around.
it's the other way around. It
You
would
reckon
be.
it is?
It'd have to be.
Okay.
Not guaranteed because it could be a defensive, obviously MVP, but
Yeah.
yeah, I reckon it'd be pretty hard.
Who are you picking?
Mahomes
Cool.
for all those reasons and more.
Beautiful.
Defensive Player of the Year: Nick Bosa, Chris Jones, Micah Parsons.
I went with Bosa. Just
I also
for-
went with Bosa.
Hey.
My
That's what I'm
God.
saying. You guys
Just
reading
for,
the same book? Or?
It's obviously pretty stat driven, like these.
Yeah.
Well, it's for me looking at it, it's stat driven. He had the most sacks for the year. That 49ers defensive unit were a powerhouse all year, and he was a big driving force behind it. So that's why I went with Bosa.
I agree.
Yep.
You on Bosa as well?
I can't knock that one.
3 from 3?
Yeah. 3 from
Hard
3.
to
He was so dominant.
Hard to argue.
How do you pick someone who isn't so dominant? Like, obviously Jones has got to be up there in the conversation, 100%. But like,
He's top 3, I reckon.
yeah, you reckon top 3? We're gonna go top 3. No, but Bosa, like, how do you go past him?
In such a strong defensive team as well. Like, sometimes you can have a real good unit that the individuals get lost, where he was not.
Yeah.
He was the unit. So, and last but not least, MVP. We've got Josh Allen, Joey B, Jalen Hurts, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes.
I'll go on Patty Mahomes for the MVP. The big fella put up the highest passing yards for the year. They had the number 1 scoring offense for the year. Yeah, hard to argue.
Yeah,
He's gonna argue.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, as soon as Hurts went out, so the Philly were undefeated. Then Hurts went out.
Ah,
Then they started losing. So therefore, it's Hurts, not then therefore the most valuable player.
He's definitely the most valuable player on their team.
Of their team.
But yeah, all right, fair enough. But I'm thinking, I understand.
I see your point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, where the talk about Mahomes, like he's probably going to get it. Don't get me wrong, but I still feel like there needs to be a case made for Jalen Hurts, because as soon as you take him out of that squad, they start losing, and the only way they could keep the number one spot was when he came back, when he probably shouldn't have, still slightly injured, came back and still won.
Look at his rushing numbers that I referred to before. Like I was tossing up between Mahomes and Hurts.
Yeah.
But I just leant towards Mahomes. But there's definitely a case to be made. Like his rushing numbers that he puts up and his ability to score off the back of that rush.
So yeah, his yards, his throwing yards might be less than Mahomes, but his rushing yards would be double, triple.
Yeah.
Which, like in this modern day NFL, where the quarterback is rushing a lot more than, throwing not a lot more than throwing, but a lot more than what the previously years have had.
They're not pocket passes.
Yeah, they're not pocket passing every single time. So I feel like the rushing part of being a quarterback needs to come into the conversation. And if that was in anything to do with the MVP voting, then it's got to be Hurts.
Yep. I think if JJ had a few more yards, like he just had a quiet patch towards the end of the year. I know the Packers got a hold of him. He got like 3 yards or something. If he had a few more yards, it's hard because he was really close to Megatron's receiving record. I reckon he needed like 120 or something in the last 2 weeks and got 3 against the Packers, and that really killed him. Might have been 200 when he got killed. I reckon he could have been a case to get those kind of numbers, but same. Josh Allen just didn't quite have the consistency for the year. Joey B started off really slow. If you remember, we kind of said that they were done. So
the offensive line was nowhere. He was getting sacked every week.
Yeah, Hurts and Mahomes, and I'm going Mahomes, just being the more consistent.
Yeah.
We will. Struggle. Cardi, you did just mention kind of off air, but it'll probably be in there. We just want to thank Gussie and In the Pocket for allowing us to use this.
From your pocket.
From your pocket. Why didn't you correct me when I said it before? Then?
You said it right before.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sweet. No, we do appreciate it. And as always, if you do enjoy the podcast, tell your friends, your family, and
your producer.
Your producer mates who own From the Pocket. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating, a review, set the little bell so that you remember when we come on, because we're not live this time, but we will be in the future. You can also find us Twitter, AGS AU Podcast, Tim Cardy, AGS AU. Correct.
Yes.
Danny Webb, AGSAU, and I'm pretty sure I'm T-Mac, AGSAU. I never actually say that one. Instagram is anygivensunday.au, TikTok, Facebook, Dabble, YouTube are all Any Given Sunday Australia.
Yes, get around them. And obviously this episode will be coming out tonight, but
we will have a special episode dropping on Sunday. Sunday night or Sunday?
Maybe Sunday.
Sunday. We'll give the punters,
maybe like 3:30.
People plenty of time to get on.
Nice little one, which will be the punting.
Yeah, it's going to be a little special short episode. We might construct our multis, talk about some exotics, and we'll give you our thoughts on the betting market.
Yeah, so make sure you have our little dongle set, the little
notification bell.
Plenty of time to get your bets on before the game.
Yeah.
And as always, boys, go the Packers.
No, go Birds. You're not even in it, mate.
Ron.
Fly. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Put yours on, mate.
Fly.
Yes, good luck, Danny and
Brenton.
Yeah, the Web Bowl. The Web Bowl.
Yeah.
The Kelsey Bowl, the Super Bowl. Very excited Monday coming ahead.
Bowl.
AGS Bowl.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Beautiful.
Well done, boys.
Who?
Well done.
So,